Hey film fans! Welcome to CINEPRO, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps, from heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters. The story of the film begins with a man named Shiro, whom we see walking in the city of Buenos Aires, Argentina. We learn that Shiro is a poor man, and because of his poverty, he has become a thief to support his family. At this time, Shiro sees a nice, expensive car and decides to open it and steal it. Indeed, Shiro manages to open the car, gets inside, locks the door behind him, and starts taking apart the car stereo and puts it in the bag he has with him. There he finds an expensive pair of glasses and decides to steal them too. Shiro keeps looking for anything valuable in the car to steal, but finds nothing else, so he decides to settle for what he has taken and tries to leave the car. But when he tries to escape and open the door, he can't. He tries the other doors, but they don't open either. Shiro finds no solution except to break the window, so he starts kicking the rear window in an attempt to get out, but he can't, and fails to break it. Then he decides to remove the inner part of the door and tries to open it, but in the process, he injures his hand badly, and it keeps bleeding. Despite what happened to him, Shiro doesn't give up. He pulls out his gun and shoots at the front window, but because of the strength and durability of the glass, the bullet bounces back and hits his leg. Shiro screams in pain, takes off his t-shirt, and ties it around his leg to stop the bleeding. All the while, he tries to hide from anyone on the street so that no one sees him, but after the gunshot, he keeps screaming for someone to come and help him. At this moment, a girl comes to the car and uses its window as a mirror to fix her makeup. Shiro keeps shouting at her and tries to get her attention, but unfortunately, she neither hears nor sees him, so she leaves. We learn that the car's glass is one-way and soundproof from the outside. Shiro takes out his phone and tries to call his wife, but unfortunately the phone dies because the battery runs out. He remains in this situation until night falls, and he falls asleep. The next day, Shiro wakes up very thirsty. He takes out his water bottle and finds it empty. Out of desperation, he starts licking the condensation off the window. Then he puts the radio back in place to hear anything, and he finds his favorite song playing, which lifts his spirits and gives him hope as he tries to open the door again. At this point, a call comes through the radio. Shiro answers and starts talking to someone who introduces himself as Dr. Enrique Ferrari, the owner of the car. Enrique tells him that the car has been stolen 28 times before, and Shiro is the 29th thief. Shiro interrupts Enrique, very angry, and tells him to let him out of the car quickly. Enrique insults Shiro and tells him to be quiet, then explains that the car operates with a system connected to his mobile phone, is soundproof and bulletproof, except for the gas tank, which has a capacity of 120 liters. Enrique says his family used to be middle class, and in the old days, life was so safe they could sleep with their doors open, but now life has changed and become chaotic, with no safety. Enrique asks Shiro what he would do if he caught his son stealing. Shiro loses his temper, insults Enrique, and threatens to go after him and his family if he gets out of the car, but Enrique ends the call. Suddenly, the car's air conditioning turns on, making the temperature very cold. Shiro tries to stop the air conditioning but can't, and he gets very cold. He takes the t-shirt he used to tie his wound and wears it again, then uses a piece of cloth from his pants to stop the bleeding. Shiro falls asleep in the car, freezing. After an hour, Enrique turns off the air conditioning and calls Shiro again, repeating the question about what he would do if he saw his son stealing. Shiro answers that he would turn his son in to the police. Enrique tells him he should be a role model for his son. Shiro starts begging, promising never to do it again, and that he has learned from his mistake. Enrique tells Shiro about his life, and says that last December, 2 people broke into his daughter's house while she was parking her car. But he had taught her how to act in such situations, telling her not to look the thieves in the eye and to always have money to give them for her safety. He says even that wasn't enough for the thieves, and one of them pointed a weapon at his grandson. Shiro doesn't seem interested in Enrique's story, so Enrique asks him how he can leave someone bleeding in such a situation. Enrique praises Shiro for his question, and asks him about his specialization, but before Shiro can answer, Enrique ends the call. At this moment, Shiro sees a police officer get out of his car and walk toward him, giving Shiro hope again. He tries to get the officer's attention, but the officer neither hears nor sees him. The officer gives the car a ticket and leaves. After a few hours, Enrique calls and asks Shiro for his name and ID number, telling him that if he gives the information, he will give him water. Shiro gives him the information, and Enrique tells him there's a water bottle in the trunk. Shiro finds it, but it turns out to be a bottle of soap, not water. Out of extreme thirst, he drinks it anyway, At night, Shiro feels hungry and is forced to eat an insect in the car. The next morning, Shiro feels very tired and realizes he has developed a fever from the wound in his leg. Enrique turns on the air conditioning again, but this time increases the temperature. Enrique starts talking about himself again, telling Shiro that he is sick with cancer and that today he had a scan and found out the disease has gotten much worse, and he only has a year to live. Shiro gets exhausted and sweats from the heat. After a while, Shiro finds the car's manual and tries to find something useful, but after many attempts, he finds nothing to help him escape. At one point, someone tries to open the car. Shiro's hope returns, but unfortunately, people catch the thief and quickly call the police to arrest him. At night, Shiro reflects and talks to himself, saying that life is unbalanced because a small percentage of people are rich, while the majority suffer from hunger and poverty. If the government redistributed wealth equally, there would be no poverty, and everyone would be happy. The next morning, Enrique tells Shiro that he is reading the newspaper and is in a good mood. Shiro searches the car and finds a piece of chocolate under the brake, which he eats. He then spends hours watching people on the street, memorizing their schedules. After a few minutes, Shiro manages to break the door and make a very small hole, through which he tries to call for help, but it is too small and no one hears him. At this moment, Enrique calls him and says he was able to find Shiro's family through his ID number. Enrique warns Shiro not to harm his family, and Enrique tells him that through his criminal record, he was able to find out that Shiro had killed someone before. Shiro tells Enrique that he has never killed anyone, but Enrique tells him that Shiro tried to rob a shop owned by two brothers, and one of them resisted, so Shiro shot him and killed him. Enrique reminds Shiro that he also tried to steal a bus and kept beating the driver until the driver was left with a permanent disability. In the end, Shiro confesses to all these crimes, and tells Enrique that he regrets everything he has done, and promises not to repeat it again. At this point, Shiro manages to charge his phone using solar power. Once it's charged, he calls his wife, but unfortunately, she doesn't answer, so he leaves her a voicemail confessing everything he has done, and apologizes to her. The phone then dies. By chance, Shiro presses the car's power button and is surprised when the car starts. He tries to shift gears, but the gear won't move. He keeps trying several times but then manages to reverse the car, hitting a pole and breaking the rear window. Shiro quickly gets out of the car and walks until he reaches a restaurant, where he eats a lot. While he's eating, the restaurant manager arrives and asks him to pay the bill, but Shiro gets very angry, suddenly pulls out a gun, shoots the manager, and kills him. Then he wakes up and realizes it was all just a dream, and that he is still in the car. At this moment, Enrique calls Shiro. Shiro begs Enrique to let him out, so he can see his son, but Enrique refuses to let him go. Shiro tells Enrique that if he doesn't let him out, he'll kill himself, but Enrique doesn't care and doesn't respond. Shiro puts the gun in his mouth to commit suicide, but the gun jams, and doesn't fire. Enrique laughs at Shiro, saying that he even failed at killing himself. Enrique then asks Shiro to look ahead. Shiro looked and he is surprised to find Enrique in front the car, and says that he left the hospital to say hi to him. Then he opens the car door and sits next to him and checks on his wound. At that moment, Enrique receives a call and becomes distracted. Shiro tries to shoot Enrique, but the bullet misses. Shiro opens the door and quickly escapes from the car, firing shots into the air to get someone's attention and help. Enrique hears the gunshots, chases after Shiro, catches him, and tries to drag him back to the car. At that moment, a policewoman appears, points her gun at Enrique, and orders him to drop his weapon. Enrique refuses and tells them that Shiro is a thief who tried to steal his car, and he won't let him escape punishment. After 2 hours, the police surround the area. Crowds of people and journalists gather, watching as Enrique holds a gun to Shiro's head. Enrique tells everyone that he is the victim, and that Shiro is just a thief. Then retired detective Amadeo arrives, having been called by the police because of his investigative experience. Amadeo asks Enrique what his demands are in exchange for releasing Shiro. Enrique says that he faces many problems every day, and the government does nothing. Among these problems is that when he goes to his office, he has to avoid all the dog waste because dog owners don't clean up after their pets. He tells them that today he will get justice from the thief Shiro, who stole his car, and that because of the government, theft has become widespread in the neighborhood. At this point, everyone sympathizes with Enrique, and starts chanting his name. Amadeo tells Enrique that if he kills Shiro, nothing will change, and Enrique will be the only one punished for Shiro's death. He advises Enrique to let Shiro go, as it will be a lesson for him and he won't repeat his actions. Enrique is convinced by Amadeo's words, and lets Shiro go. The police then arrest Shiro. Afterwards, Amadeo asks Enrique to drop his weapon and surrender, but Enrique gets in the car and puts his phone on top of it. Amadeo realizes that the phone has a timer, indicating a countdown to an explosion that will happen in the car. He quickly orders everyone to move away. Everyone clears the area, and suddenly the car explodes with Enrique inside, killing him. Everyone starts crying and gets very upset because Enrique died. It is revealed that Enrique was one of the people harmed by the government's treatment of the people, and that he was fighting the government because of its mistreatment of the public. Everyone agrees with him because of the painful reality that the poor are living through, and poverty has forced people into theft and crime just to survive and provide for their family. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.